Yeah, I mean, I'm like you though, brother. I'm very grim and down and out. But I said to myself, I've got to be more fortified in the name of moral consistency, spiritual witness, and political courage. And I said to myself, I'll make sure I will not stoop so low that when Fred Trump and when Marianne Trump and when Melania Trump came as German, as Scotch, and as Slovenian, that I would not want to say to them, you need to go back. I've been here 9 generations as a black man, enslaved, Jim Crow, Jane Crow, at the center of the American experiment, at the center of the democratic experiment. I'm not going to stoop so low to be in the gutter with Trump. We had to be very clear, though. This is not just a matter of Trump as racist, and I was sad to see the Democratic Party couldn't just call him a racist as opposed to say his words are racist. That was a bit weak for me. But Donald Trump, Brother Trump, is at this moment becoming the American version of a Hitler and a Mussolini. We have created a fascist Frankenstein, and I say we. It's not just a decrepit Republican Party with all of the collaborationists and the facilitators. I mean, you know, Brother Lindsey Graham is just a Donald Duck version of Joseph McCarthy. It's sad to see him stoop so low. But Kevin Murphy, the same way. Republicans across the board, they have adjusted themselves to a profoundly unjust, proto-fascist way of being in the world in terms of being lawless, hiding and concealing, rationalizing this kind of unadulterated raw hatred. And I come from a tradition of a people who, after being hated for 400 years, Coltrane just died 52 years ago. We teach the world about love and justice. So the question becomes, how do I become fortified to say to Trump that you're going to have to create a fascist America over our dead bodies? We're going to go down fighting. But we're not going to go get in the gutter of hatred for you, but out of love of democracy and this country, we're going to make sure you do not allow for this kind of expansion of fascism. You read Gustave Le Bon's book on the crowd, and you see the ways in which you can manipulate the crowd. You know Madison Grant, Yale graduate, 1887, the passing of the great race, the major pseudoscientific rationalization of the subordination of black people, red peoples, yellow peoples, brown peoples. Donald Trump is as American as apple pie, just like Martin Luther King Jr. Is as American as apple pie. And the question is, what apple pie is going to win? So in that sense, we just got to be fortified. And so we can't get too, we can't get too, I think the sisters are right. The 4 sisters are so right in terms of not taking the bait. And I have a great love for those 4 sisters. But when you love somebody, though, brother, you respect, you protect, but you also correct. All of us are in the process of needing correction in this regard. But we have to be consistent across the board. Right wing, center, left wing, what have you. I'm sorry to go on so long, but brother, we at a very historic and pivotal moment in the history of this nation. If we don't accent the moral, the spiritual, and the politically courageous, this democratic experiment will come to an end, and it's always been the vicious legacy of white supremacy that could bring down the curtain, but that white supremacy has always been lodged in predatory capitalism. Race is not floating somewhere. It's a rationalization so that we don't talk about the bombing of 9 countries that's going on. We don't talk about the rule of big military in terms of the military-industrial complex and the 60 cents that's already taken before we even get to the budget for social programs and other programs, and the rule of Wall Street, the poverty, the decrepit schools, and so forth. And Hitler and Mussolini, they did make the trains run on time, but they were full of hatred and xenophobia. You know, Sister Marianne Trump, and I keep going back to Brother Trump's mother here, because he's still a human being. She raised a question. She said, what kind of son have I created? That's the question she raised. And we're going to have to answer that question. Is it the case that the son she created becomes the American version of the Hitler and Mussolini in the White House, in the Oval Office? That's the question.
But there